Alrighty. I think I have everything unmuted, and I think that I may have it going on. I'm not real sure, but we will see. Um, so I guess everybody knows by now that there's a whole lot of stuff that's been going on in the court with the doc drop and stuff like that. So I figure that everybody's probably discussed that, and I'm not a document reader. I don't do very well with reading documents. Um, but from what I understand, the continuance got denied. I think it may, I'm not sure if it's been postponed a week. I saw somewhere that it had been postponed a week, and then I saw where it wasn't postponed a week. So, not real sure. But neither here nor there, it's not postponed for a month, 2 months, or anything like that. So, that's good. Um, and then, of course, the alternate perpetrator got denied. Now I think that they still have the right to like ask questions and stuff like that about the investigation and stuff like that. But as far as, being able to use it as a defense, I'm pretty sure that's pretty much out. So, but there's a lot of stuff that concerns me. I mean, I don't want to be one of these channels that like debunk, 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 you know, but I want to be a channel that puts out factual information. And I think that I think that some of the problem, no, a lot of the misinformation, misunderstanding, not understanding, um, could maybe be coming from the DNA and touch DNA versus transfer DNA, stuff like that. It could be coming from people not understanding the IgG process and what happens in that process. Um, and I don't know. I mean, I guess for me, I guess it seems pretty straightforward, but for some, it seems like there's something nefarious about it, or, somebody did something wrong about it, or somebody, I think at one point it was said that the sample doubled in size and stuff like that. And when you say that a sample doubles in size, I'm sure that people's ears perk up and they're like, wait a minute, how can it double in size? It can't do that. Hey, PKC, how are you doing, sweetie? Um, oh, there's Deb. So, but when you talk about, and I know that if I didn't really understand the IgG process and I heard somebody say that the sample doubled in size, that would cause concern for me. And so when you hear some of the ways that the IgG is being put out there, I can understand where there's a lot of, um, I guess, trust, feeling like the trust has been violated and how everything's not transparent and stuff like that. And I'm constantly hearing how they never did turn over exactly how they got to his name with the IgG. And I know that y'all will remember that they had to turn over everything in camera to Judge. And then he took and made a decision on what they had to turn over to defense. So they turned over what the judge ordered them to turn over. Well, then Ann Taylor came back and put in a motion to have it available to her experts, and that got approved. Hey, Chloe. Well, then she came back and put in a motion to have it available to her investigators. That got approved. So I'm really not understanding how people are saying that they haven't turned over everything as far as the IGG goes, because they have turned over everything the judge ordered them to turn over. Now, could they turn over the S&P? No, because according to the DOJ guidelines, is when they have a defendant that S&P in the portal. Now, keep in mind that this is in a portal that they can see. They don't get to touch it or feel it or manipulate it or add to it or take away or anything. It is in a portal for them to look at and go to Facebook and get this, or go get a death certificate, or look at a marriage license or something like that. It's only, I guess like a reference, But once they have that defendant, that S&P goes back to the lab. And that lab being a third party lab, because no law enforcement labs have the capabilities of building an S&P, it has to be sent out third party. And so in this case, it got sent to Othram. And I don't know. I mean, the word salad just really bothers me, because that's all I can hear now is that, oh yeah, when we get it back, when they get it back, the sample's like double the size. Well, of course that's going to cause people to, really have concerns and everything. But keep in mind that this is no longer, I mean, by the time you get, hey, unwarranted, by the time you get to the IGG, by the time you get to the S&P, we're not talking biological. I mean, we're talking analytical. So when they're talking about it being double in size, they're talking analytically. They're talking, I mean, it's a repeat. It's bioinformatics imputation sequencing. And with the sequencing, it's all repetitive. So A B C D, A B C D, A B C D, A B C D. And what the imputation does is it goes in, and if it's missing a B, they put a B in. If it's missing a D, they put a D in. I mean, it's pretty. I mean, it, I mean, if you don't try to overthink it, but I think where the problem's coming in is people think that they're running around with all these skin cells, and they're just throwing them everywhere, and no kind of chain of custody or anything like that. I think they misunderstand supplemental. I only could count how many I hear. Oh yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's what I'm saying is a lot of times with the wording, I think that's where a lot of the confusion comes in, because, supplemental discovery to me, that's them asking for more discovery. Well, I thought they had all the discovery, you know, and you have channels that they will run with that word salad, and they will feed as many rabbits as they can while they've got that word salad fresh. And the defense does have a way. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And I guess that's what bothers me is, okay, I'm just going to say it. So we know that how many times a day do y'all hear, well, what about the DNA on the railing? What about the DNA in the glove? Well, what about the 3 DNAs under Maddie's fingernails? I mean, here's the thing about it, y'all. And if people would really think about it, if I'm a defense attorney and I am defending a guy that his life is on the line, and I've got some DNA that could clear him, but it hasn't been tested. Don't y'all think Ann Taylor would be standing on her head to get that tested? She would be going up to the Supreme Court, up to the, the Idaho Supreme Court, should be going to the feds, should be going, you know, if that DNA was that valuable to this case, and believe me, Ann Taylor knows if it's valuable or if it's not. She knows if she's putting words out there in the word salad, let's make this look more nefarious or anything than it is. But Chloe, tell me this. If it could get all charges dropped, don't you think she would be standing on her head to have that out in the public and have it tested and prove who it was? And, you know, with it not being mentioned that much, it sort of tells me that it's sort of a red herring. Feed those rabbits. I mean, think about it, Dad. I mean, you watched it that day. How many rabbits ate up that word salad of the IgG doubling in size? It was crazy. I mean, it was all over the place. Hey, Sarah, that the IgG doubled in size, the sample doubled in size, you know, and I guess that's where I get frustrated is if we as creators have to be careful of how we word things, how we say things, how, misinformation, disinformation, and I know all y'all know the difference between misinformation and disinformation. But if we have to be careful of all that, why does an attorney not have to be? Okay. She knows they have no obligation to find who those other two samples match to. Are they supposed to look to the ends of the earth before proceeding with Koberger's case? Now, that I'm going to answer that. I'm going to talk about that question while I answer Deb's question. And Chloe can tell me if I'm correct. The Bannister DNA, the glove DNA, they got tested to say that it was male. Okay. But in order to put it through CODIS, CODIS has eligibility questions that you have to answer those questions for it to be eligible to go to CODIS. Those two were not eligible to go to CODIS. When they were ineligible to go to CODIS, it made them ineligible to go to IgG because you can't skip CODIS. Does that make any kind of sense? I don't think Hitler would allow a possible innocent person to go to trial if there was a possibility of an alternate suspect. If the DNA on that banister, the DNA under Maddie's fingernails, and the DNA in that glove had any chance of saving a person's life, and a judge squashed that, I do think that that would be just like really horrible. I don't even know the word for it. Forget the legality of it. The personal, just the, oh, that would be terrible. I mean, I don't think that he could sit on that bench and say, oh, well, I know that this over here says Joe Blow did it and he doesn't have an alibi and blah blah blah. But Koberger's sitting in the defendant's chair, and that's where we're sticking it. So squash that. It's not happening. Deb, that's right. And perhaps by now exceptions have been made, and they did run it through CODIS just for shits and giggles. Now, see, here's what's funny is, and I'm not, I want to say it, but I don't want to say it because I haven't confirmed it. No, I'm not going to say it. Anyway, um, but the thing about it is, I also read the banister was outside the crime scene. Now, I do know that the glove I mean, the glove was out there by the trash cans. Yes, exactly. He would be thrown off the bench and disbarred. And that's the legality of it. My point of it is, just the integrity of it, the personal of it. I mean, I don't think that a judge would be able to sleep at night and really know that, you know, he did that he did that to somebody. But again, tell me if I'm crazy again. If Ann Taylor thought that it would get him off, don't y'all think she would be standing on her head every day in front of some kind of judge somewhere, just beating somebody's doors down, saying, This, this clears my client. This, get him out of here. He has spent 2 years in jail. Fix this, fix it now, you know, and she's not doing that. So obviously, it doesn't have that big of an impact in the case. Closest thing. Okay, I read that they did test the banister and that nothing showed up in CODIS, but that the IGG process, nothing has been said publicly of what they found on it. I cannot confirm nor deny. It's just what I read. So, but one of the things is the skin cells. Ooh, this drives me crazy. I mean, because how many times have y'all heard, oh, well, they didn't get enough skin cells. It ain't nothing but transfer DNA. Again, let me explain this. If I want drugs, I go to a middleman. Middleman gives me my drugs. I never see the big dog. Okay. So anything that's no middleman, that would be Touch DNA. That would be Coburger knife sheath. No middleman. Now, if I want some cereal, I got to go to the grocery store. I got to pick up some Captain Crunch. No, I don't want any Captain Crunch, so I put it back. I think I'll go over here and get some Fruit Loops. So I put my Captain Crunch back up on the shelf. Somebody comes along, they buy that box of Captain Crunch. They end up dead. Well, guess what? My DNA now is in their living room and they're dead. That's transfer. You know, does that help anybody understand it any better? Because that's the thing, they're like, it's junk science, transfer DNA, it can be transferred from shaking hands, it can be transferred. Touch, no, let me take that back. Single source touch DNA, single source. That's no mixture, that's no nothing. That's single source touch DNA. He touched that bitch. He held that bitch. He no, it belonged in his hand. It belonged to Coburger. You know, And the thing about it is a light shedder versus a heavy shedder, just like PKC saying, you know, they can tell if you touched it or if you like held it by the skin cells and stuff that are shed. Okay, I shed one skin cell. That's probably that box of Captain Crunch that I decided I didn't want and I put back on the shelf. Now those Fruit Loops that I bought, I held that bitch, so I probably got 5 skin cells. You know, every case where someone's gotten screwed with touch DNA, it's never single source. Thank you. And see, that's what drives me crazy is everybody wants to forget about the single source, you know, and just talk about transfer, transfer. No, single source, it's his. He touched it. It belongs to him. He touched it for more than 5 seconds. He didn't touch it and put it back and somebody else come along and pick it up. No, that bitch belongs to Coburger. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I'm doing this one definitely late night because I got some things to say, but I'm going to be politically correct. So, let's see. Hey, Sirius, how are you? Why so serious? Honey, have you seen my hair? Shit. I probably shed so much DNA with my hair, I could probably. But okay, here's the thing, okay? Mrs. Ann Taylor made a comment in one of the sessions. She said, we shed DNA everywhere we go. I'll give her that. But I will tell you this, I have spent years and years and years on an 18 wheeler. I've been to all 48 states. My DNA has never showed up under a dead body. Sorry to say it, but oh, that's okay, serious, because I'll probably be throwing it for you. So, um, but that's the thing about it is, I mean, Claire, I don't think he touched it that night, though. I think he had gloves on. Okay, hey, I give you that. I give you that. So definitely. But here's what I can imagine with his personality that I imagine, in my opinion, screw that. Yes, it's my opinion. Um, is I can see him putting it all together in his head, sitting there flipping that snap, open, shut, open, shut, open, shut. You know, then when he's in court, I can see him sitting there in that chair and him going, son of a bitch, I can't believe I missed that one damn spot. You know, I wouldn't be sitting here if if I hadn't have missed that one spot. You know. Then Hepler said, don't go to yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, don't go to the crime scene. I mean, like I said, I've been to all 48 states and my DNA's never showed up under a dead person. Never, ever, ever, ever. Especially if I was driving a white car by myself with my phone off in that area. No. So you've got the skin cells and that, you hear, oh, well, they got just like one, what is it, a 1 nanogram or something like that, Here's the thing about it. If you go back and you read the court documents, so anything that I'm saying, I can back up with the court documents, is in the court documents, it talks about the Idaho State Lab uses Promega for their solution and everything for the touch DNA. It gives you how much solution and breaks it down, and it does everything for you in the court documents, down to that it was more than 60,000 skin cells. Okay. But because the swab did not swab 100% of the snap, they went to the low figure of 56,000 skin cells. 56,000 skin cells? Oh, okay. Love you, Deb. Oh, false alarm. Hello, Deb. I mean, when they talk about it, they want to act like they had two or three skin cells and that's not enough to do anything with. 56,000 skin cells, I think I might could do something with that. I mean, that's a lot of skin cells, don't you think? Yeah, Deb says psych. Deb, are you sneaking and not going to bed like you're supposed to? So anyway, the single source touch DNA, that's going to hold up in court. Okay. Now here's where a little bit of another part of the confusion that I hear. Well, look at them. They don't want to use the DNA because it was only a tip. But then you hear in court that they want to use the DNA. 56,000 skin cells. It is in the court documents. What's her name? Nolan? Help me out, y'all. Rylene Nolan? Is that her name? I mean, she's even got it. I mean, look, I even downloaded. I have the Promega solution protocol downloaded to how much solution to a swab and how much, this, it begets this and begets this. Wow, Tom, throw those figures. There. See, look at there, Tom Van. I was so hoping you'd come in here. Okay, the 280 skin cells, that's where I got that from. Because I was like, 56,000. Tom said 280. So 1,681 picograms, which is 280 skin cells. That indicates direct touch. The minimum. Okay, so let me ask you this: since you want to come up on panel, because I want to talk to you about this, because I'm going to die on this sword. I am. This will be the sword I die on. Hang on, y'all. I'm looking for a picture. Yeah, I got 6,000 to go through, so. Judas Priest. I guess I was ill prepared. But anyway, it's in the court documents. And okay, so that's the touch DNA. So then it's like, this chain of custody thing because I think, was it Blaker that rode with okay, not rode. Let me rephrase. I don't know if they rode in a car, a truck, on a plane, a donkey. I don't know how they got there, but they delivered the sample to Othram. Okay. So the chain of custody was never broken because the lab guy went with the police officer. I don't care if you trust the two of them or not. The chain of custody stands. If you have the lab worker escorted with the law officer and they are personally delivering it to the third party lab to have the SNP built, I'm sorry, y'all, that stands every day and twice on Sunday. So, I mean, I don't care if you trust law enforcement. I don't care if you trust Idaho State Police or not. It ain't got nothing to do with trust. It's got to do with proving the chain of custody was never broken. So you hear all about that, that they didn't do the sheath at the lab, they did it at the house. I would really like for somebody to show me that. I would really like to see where it says that they swabbed that sheath and everything at the murder scene instead of bagging it and tagging it and taking it to the lab and doing what they do. I would really like to see that in the court documents. So for anybody that says that, this is no disrespect because if it's in the paperwork, then we'll go with the paperwork. They did it at the crime scene. But I'm not going to say they did it at the crime scene until I see it in the court documents because I will never believe that. I cannot believe, that's what bag and tag is for. You bag it, you tag it, you send it to the lab. And so they get it to the lab, they pull the DNA out, they send it through CODIS, and now it's going to go to the IGG, which is going to be the SNP. Chain of custody still stands. Othram does what they do. They double the size of the sample. Anyway, is anybody still here? Y'all's chat quit. Oh no, it didn't. Shit, my chat quit. Want a lick? What? Touch DNA on objects only lasts 6 weeks. Too much skin cells, Nina. Okay, well, I gotta go find that now. Shoot. And I think I'm in the phone that has it. Okay, here it is. Okay, so it says the ISP uses Promega DNA test kits, and the standard protocol and volume of DNA extraction solution for processing swabs uses 1 milliliter of extraction buffer per swab. That is per the Promega swab extraction solution protocol. Total DNA extracted is calculated equals 160,000 pg. There is C6 pg of human DNA per human somatic cell. So this is DNA equivalent to 28,000 somatic cells. 100 to 250 pg of DNA is considered the lower threshold for STR-DNA sequencing. So the quantity here is hundreds of orders of magnitude higher, and no way nominal, borderline, or near the lower threshold. The extraction efficiency of DNA swabbing is detailed in the literature at C 47%, and efficiency of extraction from swabs is C 85%. So the actual number of cells actually presented on the swab was significantly greater than 60,000. Even if we assume the lowest extraction buffer volume of 250 UL, this would equate to greater than 14,000 cells. Good night, Deb. Sorry I missed that. So, and in I've got the court document, and it says, it is possible the DNA detected on M2022-4843, item 1.1, resulted from secondary transfer. However, based on Nolan's training and experience, it is her opinion, given the quantity of DNA detected on M2022-4843, 0.168 ng, and given the DNA profile obtained is single source, it is most likely that it was direct transfer. And that's in the court documents. So I don't understand the big thing on how they're still disputing and saying that there wasn't enough skin cells when it's in the court documents. And that's one of the things that a lot of people get called out on, is not going by the court documents. Well, I'm going by the court documents, and y'all are still telling me I'm wrong. Not y'all, but the other y'all. So I need somebody to tell me what's right and what's wrong, and to show me how it's right and to show me how it's wrong. Because if I'm going to die on a hill, I would like to know I'm dying on the right hill. And even if it's, what was it, if it's 280 skin cells, or if it's 60,000 skin cells, either way, it was enough, more than plenty enough, to say that it was single source, touch DNA, belonged to one person, One person only. It didn't get flipped around in the grocery store while they were choosing different cereals or anything like that. It was one touch DNA. That means the bitch belongs to Coburger. Thank you. Thank you. See that? Okay. Now, when I said the sample, I was being facetious because that was the word salad. That was the word salad that Ann Taylor used in court that day. She was like, oh, yeah, we get the sample, and oh, yeah, it's doubled in size. No, it just filled in the blanks. I mean, it's like Tom just said right there. It doesn't, it's not doubling the size. Like, it didn't fit in a shoebox and then all of a sudden they had to have a suitcase. If that puts it in any kind of perspective. And Tom, please help me. Is by this point, isn't it analytical, like computerized and analytical bioinformatics imputation sequencing? I don't think we can do that with skin cells as far as like putting them out on the table and imputating them and sequencing them and stuff like that. So that we're dealing with analytical samples now, right? We're not just carrying a bunch of skin cells off with us, right? And yours was touch DNA. Come up here and talk to me. Because okay, I think the sample, the word sample is what gets a lot of people because they think that we're still dealing with all biologic. The SNAP would take pressure. Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on, y'all. These people work at a state lab. They're not stupid. They know how to do their job. They have done enough snaps to know, hey, we might want to swab there because I bet you there's some skin cells. People are acting like they're just, they're either out to get somebody and frame somebody or they're stupid or they're reckless or they're contaminated or anything and everything possible besides Koberger did it. I mean, that's the thing about it is there's just no possible way. There's no possible way that Koberger did this. No possible way at all. None. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see it. Nothing. It didn't happen. He's innocent. Okay, then I'll give you that. Then let's give the same respect to Showalter. Let's give the same respect to Jack D. Let's give the same respect to Adam, the same respect to the families, the same respect to the judges and the law enforcement, and all those spaghetti noodles that we have thrown up against the wall saying that they did it. Let's give all those spaghetti noodles the same respect and the same rights that everybody's giving Koberger. I guess we need some defendant bleachers so they can face their accusers. Okay, 0.168 nanograms is 1,680 picograms, with each skill cell at 60 picograms. Maybe I am wrong. I like you. But see, I mean, I look, y'all. I am not the brightest crayon in the box, so do not give me credit for it. I just know how to read. I mean, Either way, it was direct contact. And yeah, those poor survivors, I mean, you know, I guess each skin cell is approximately 6 picograms. Okay. Now then, here's my question. I think I know the answer, but just in case I don't, they're not running around with skin cells in the locked briefcase, taking all the 60,000 skin cells to Othram. It's an STR sample, which is a single tandem repeat, right? Sample? Exactly. I mean, and but you have to admit when you hear a defense attorney talk about the sample doubled in size, that makes your ears perk up. I mean, so she knew what she was doing. She knew what she was saying. She knew how she was saying it, and she knew the wording she was using. She was being a wordsmith with her word salad. The sample doesn't double, the profile does. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Notice it says which is text file, which means what? If it's text, it is no longer biological. It is now analytical. So I know that, when they talk about, well, that it gave them the four brothers, and the four brothers, the name didn't even match Koberger. You know why? Because the mama of the four brothers was a Koberger maiden name. And then she married the last name. So that's the reason it wasn't a Koberger last name. It's simple, and I don't know why everybody wants to make it so nefarious and so evil, that it led to four brothers and they weren't even a Koberger. You know what? They may not have been a Koberger by name, but they were Koberger by blood or skin cells, we'll say. And the thing about it is they didn't stop there. They kept going because they asked one of the brothers, to go and, give up himself, and he refused. People are also saying, I know, Claire, it drives me crazy. And, you know, I've, I've always, been the type that would just come on here and I would rant and rave and just raise hell and drop the F bomb and just be so mad about it, because I'm passionate about it. And so I've been, I've been working on myself and trying to maintain my anger and, doing my anger management classes and stuff like that. I'm joking. But anyway, not calling creators out, not calling them punks or whatever, Believe me, I want to sit up here and say all kind of names and tell them what idiots they are and stuff like that. But I'm not going to do that because I don't want my channel to be called idiots. You know, the only thing I can say is that if I come up here and I say something, you can guarantee I've got the receipt to back it up. And it's not a receipt from Joe Blow newspaper or anything like that. It's a legitimate receipt of either a court document, or it may be two or three or four news reportings, but it's more than one, you know, and it's not going to be Joe Blow. Hey, Tom. Hello. Hello. Tom. Tom, are you there? Why don't Tom have any sound? Huh. Why you don't got no sound, Tom? Hmm. Let's see. See if I can fix it. Boy, I might make a big old mess of this. Yeah, I wouldn't be the one to fix that. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this. So Tom has no sound. Hmm. What the hell? Tom? Tom, are you muted? Tom, 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 Tom. Where did Tom go? Okay, we will try this again. I shall not give up. Yeah, Tom's a smart one. Okay, Tom. I sent the link again. Let's try this again. Oh, wow, look, my cat just came up on there. How did it do that? That's pretty neat. I see him, but I don't hear him. There's Tom. Hey, Tom. Why Tom don't have sound again? Tom still doesn't have sound. Tom? No, Tom. Audio is off. Undo. Uh-oh. Where'd Tom go? Show camera. There's Tom. What the hell? I need some tech support, please. Let's try that. I know sometimes Daniel will do that. Didn't fix it. Tom. Hello, Tom. But see, he's not even blinking like he's trying to talk. You know, see how mine will blink when I talk or whatever? Tom, speak to me and see if you go blink, blink. Thought I saw him say that, but then I thought he got it fixed. Okay. What do we do? This is going to say Major Tom? Major Tom. Come on, Major Tom. He disappeared. Well, that just sucks. It won't, he can't unmute. Ah, what the hell? That's crazy. Let's see. I don't have a clue. Houston, we have a problem. Oh, that just irks me now. Because I know usually when somebody comes up, I just put, you know, I say okay and you come on. It didn't work. See that's welcome to my life.